Hey everybody, it's Martha. Thanks for joining me today. I wanted to do sort of a part 2 of the previous video I did on how I gather things to make a specific journal. Now, this is the bag that I have things in that I showed in my previous video, and it's all stuff that has to do with a blue journal. And I found a few extra things after I finished that video. So, and I made this envelope. It's an altered envelope, so I didn't make the envelope itself. I just put a napkin and stamping and inks and some stuff on it and some lace at the bottom. So I did that, and I have one other thing that I remembered, and now I can't find it. Anyway, and here's the pad of paper that I'm going to use. I pulled a few sheets out of another pad that I have that had blue in it. And, yeah. Oh, here it is. So there's this pad of paper that I have here, and oopsies, and it's a denim pad, and this stuff is literally fabric. It's denim on the front side, and this is paper on the back side. So I found this in Tuesday morning. So I bought 2 of them because it's denim and it's fabric and it's paper and it's coolness. So yeah, I'll be using this in a few journals too, especially this blue one. So that was the first part of my gathering, and I'm going to set that over here. And then I have a new camera set up that I'm trying, so we will see how this goes. This is my bin of papers and other things that I've tea-dyed. And it's also got cardboard like boxes and tissue boxes and stuff in the back, because I just haven't found another place to put that yet. So I have doilies, and I have my 5x7 and 4x6 and 3x5 cards in there. I have some file folders, and I have all my different various papers. Here's my eco-dyed papers, which I'm not using the originals. If I want to use them, I copy them, because I don't know when I'm going to get to eco-dye again. This is tissue. No, tracing paper. I always do that. I have some heavyweight paper. This is parchment paper, and it's not parchment paper like that you bake with. It's parchment paper that's actual paper that comes in colors. And I have a new pad I found. I will show you. It's actually parchment, and it comes in sheets, and it has different colors. It has blue, green, beige, a lighter green, and a darker beige. So I found this in Hobby Lobby. It's the Paper Studio. I've been looking everywhere for a new package of this because my old package is probably 10 years old. And every time I looked it up online, all I got was baking paper, the parchment baking paper. So I finally found a pad. I have some ledger paper. I have composition notebook paper. I have paper from a paper pad I got on sale at Joann's one day, and I absolutely love it. It's got this kind of grayish tinge to it. I don't know if this is going to show up in this light on camera or not. And it's not heavyweight like watercolor paper, but it's heavier than regular copy paper. And I have really heavyweight watercolor paper. I have regular paper, just copy paper. I don't have a lot of that though. Do I have any? Oh, I have my little paper bags that I've tea-dyed in here too. So this is my paper bin that I pull from when I'm going to put together the signatures for a new journal. So I am going to, I hope, find some of my paper. I'm going to put this back on the floor because it's easier for me to look because I'm short. So I'm going to pull out a few of these and a couple of these and a couple of these and oh look, I found my tea-dyed copy paper. I pull out about I think I pull out usually 8 of these. Yeah, and this is one that I actually put a doily on and it actually came out. So I was pretty excited about that. I pull out a couple of tracing papers. And then I choose a couple of cards if I haven't already decorated cards in that particular color. So I pull them out just in case. And I pull out a couple of doilies. Depending on what I'm doing will depend on the size that I want to pull out of the doilies. I like the little ones too, so I might pull out a couple extras. And then there was something else I was thinking of. Oh, I'll pull out a paper bag and I'll pull out a glassine bag. These are the glassine bags that I think I've talked about before, and when I tea dyed them, they sort of got glued shut, but I've been figuring out a way to open them up. So, this is how I start to gather my materials for putting a journal together. So I put the little things like the bags, the cards, and the doilies aside. And I start with my regular tea-dyed copy paper. And the reason I do that is all this other paper is a different size. And I want my papers inside to be the same size, but I don't always chop off the papers that aren't the right size. So I'm going to start with folding. I want to show you this little tool that I have. No, we're not baking today. This is a little silicone spatula that I got in a kids meal. And yes, I buy the kids meals for myself at Chick-fil-A. I wish I had gotten more of these. This little tool is so handy, and it's just perfect for my hand. I have pretty small hands. And this is better than any bone folder that I own. And I own a few. So I start by, I'm going to try and not get my head in here. I start with folding my paper, my copy paper. And when I get this all done, oops, one at a time. I could save time and do more than one at a time, but I find it folds funny then. I usually mess it up at some point. And I know this is like watching paint dry. We all know how to fold paper. No wonder I keep throwing stuff off here. Okay, I'm coming. That was my glue. That was the top. I need to glue this together, but I've held off doing it. But it does go flying sometimes. This one was previously folded. This one was too. Hey, look at that. And I was going to say something before my spatula went flying. Does this ever take you back to kindergarten, where we used to cut and paste all day? it's funny because every time I start doing this, that's exactly what I remember. As being in kindergarten. In fact, I went to nursery school, which was a year before kindergarten. And so it definitely takes me back. And I'm going to be 63 this year, so that was a long way back. Okay, so what I do is when I have papers that are a different size, larger than my copy paper that I have now folded, what I do is I put my copy paper at the end of the paper and I fold and I line up the top and bottom, which is the most important. If you hear noise, background noise, it's either my dogs or the golfers outside. It's actually a pretty nice day here in Virginia, even though it's almost the end of January. And the golfers are out on the golf course. So there. So I have folded this paper and there's an overlap. So there's a couple things you can do with this. You can cut this off on your paper cutter. You can fold it in, or you could fold it back. And it's also taller. So probably what I'm going to do for this particular journal and this piece of paper and probably the other one for the other signature that's just like it, I'm probably going to cut these off. But right now I'm just going to fold everything. So I'm going to do that again with this piece. And try and get it straight because, you know, that's a challenge too. Yep, the golfers are out. Oh, Martha. Works just as well without the handle. And I still have my cold. It doesn't want to go away. It's hanging on for dear life. Now this is the composition notebook paper. I buy the composition notebooks at Dollar Tree. They're probably cheaper in Walmart. I think they're 98 cents in Walmart, and they're like $1 in the Dollar Tree. But when I'm at Dollar Tree, I just pick them up. So there's several ways that I have done these papers. I have folded the top up. I have cut the, not the top, this is the bottom. Oopsies. I have cut it off because if you go up 3 lines from the bottom, it's just about right. But the one thing I do is I line the edge of my folded copy paper up to the edge of the notebook paper, and I fold it over this way. And that does put where the composition notebook paper is normally attached in the middle of the notebook. You can see the little line here of where it's normally stitched. And it does kind of put that in the middle of a page, but that's okay. That's okay. So here's the other side where I folded it. Here's the copy paper inside. And what I do is I take this edge and I fold it in. So you can do a number of things with this page, but this gives a really, so this is where your signature will be stitched, this fold here. And this gives a wonderful journaling page, a couple of them, well, 4 of them in fact. So I've learned that I like to keep this on the page and just fold it in when it goes into the signature. So that's going to go in my cut pile. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Now the other thing you can do is you could put this in the center and you could fold this page, this side in and this side in. But that's not how I like to do it. So this is my, I just figured this out the other day. Sometimes I can be a little slow on the uptake on how to do things. And so I am going to fold this, and then I'm going to fold this in. So I'm just hoping that this sort of helps people that are just starting out and they're a little unsure of what they want to do, or how to manage putting paper in that's larger than the paper they want to use for the journal. And you could do this, you can adjust any paper down to any size journal. And you could use these methods for, say, a traveler's notebook size or a mini journal. It's just kind of using your imagination and thinking about it, but not overthinking it. This is some graph paper that I have, not graph paper, ledger paper that I had from a long time ago. And sometimes I put this in this way, and most of the time I fold it over this way. And again, this is just about the size that it needs to be folded this way. So I'm going to keep this one in this direction. And who knew golfers were so noisy, huh? So, I'll put this one, I'll just fold this in half. So I've been trying to teach myself Photoshop Elements, and I failed. So then a lot of people suggested I join the Graphics Fairy, which I did, and I'm enjoying their printouts, and I'm trying to do their tutorials, but I'm old and I'm impatient, which didn't used to be an issue for me, but I guess because I'm old, I feel like life is getting short way too quick. So I am going to have to start at the beginning, as somebody suggested on Facebook, and do the tutorials and just get it over with. Now this tracing paper is a little bit wider, so I did one, I folded it in half, and I'm going to cut it off. And this other one I'm going to make just wide enough to fit the copy paper, and I'm going to fold this side in, and I'll use it for a tuck, or I'll put washi on it, or I'll do something with it. I haven't decided yet what. I don't have to make those decisions until I get inside the journal. Okay, so this is my pile of extra papers. This is my pile of copy paper. So there, I have 2 sets of papers to put in my signatures for 2 signatures. And I have found, the first couple journals I did, I think I made 3 signatures in each one, but I have found that I really like 2 signatures, but I make them kind of chunky. Yeah. All right. I didn't clean my desk off very well. I have stuff here. I'm making a journal for a challenge, and it's Junie Desiree on YouTube, Willow Bend Journals, and I have fallen in love with her voice and her joyfulness, and she's doing a challenge for a word of the year, and I'm still working on my word. I'm getting very close to deciding, and I'm working on a journal, but this isn't it. But some of the things that you might see sitting on my desk, yeah, those have to do with that journal. That'll be coming up. So I'm going to get all my paper in the right direction. Excuse me. All my folds going the right way, since I sort of threw them over there. And then I'm going to get my paper cutter. Whoa. All right. And so I use a copy paper to measure because remembering numbers is not my strong suit. So this is a Fiskars paper cutter, and it's taken me a little time to get used to it, but I'm starting to like it more now. It has this little blade like you get on a rotary cutter, and I'm learning how to use it so that it works better than what I've been able to make it work. So see, this one, I could fold these little edges in, which I think I will. I'm not going to cut the edges off because I find with tracing paper, the edges they tear really easy. So if I fold them in, put some washi on them, or I glue another piece of paper to it to make it a little longer, extend it a little, it makes a great tuck area. So I am going to just cut the top of this off. So I know a lot of people have had colds and the flu and all kinds of stuff going around, so I hope this finds you not in one of those categories. So the graph paper fits. It's the right size when it's folded in half, so I'm just setting that aside. Now the composition notebook paper, I chopped the bottoms off. You could fold the bottom up to make a pocket, but I've done that a few times and I'm not that thrilled with it. So I did buy this cutter at Joann's and I used a coupon, and it might have even been on sale, and the coupon was available to use on sale items. Like sometimes you can buy sale items and get a 20% off coupon. So I think it was maybe 40% off on sale, and then I had a 20% off total purchase. I can't remember for sure, but if you have those coupons, that's a good time to buy these things. I know I just need to cut it at the third line. 1, 2, 3. Took me a while to learn to line this thing up. I don't know why, but it did. All right, so this is the parchment paper, and I may leave these on the side too and fold them in and use them as a tuck. So I'm just going to whack the top off of this, I think. I don't know why I say whack it off. It just doesn't sound right. I think I will just cut that off. Let's see if I got close. It's just a teeny bit more. And I think I have both pieces here too, so that could be my problem. There we go. I think that's a lot closer. Yep. And I think I'll just fold those in, so I'm not going to worry about the sides right now. And I'm done. So that's the second part of the process. Third part. You pull all your papers, and then you fold them, and decide how you want the larger papers folded, and then you cut the rest of them to size. So I'm going to put my cutter back down there, and I'll put all my little bits away later. I think I'll take these and fold this edge in. Yeah, today started out to be a cloudy day, and now the sun is out and it's warming up. I think it's maybe around 50. I don't know. But I had to open my sliding door to let a little fresh air in here because I got warm. Of course, I did spend the morning tea dyeing paper. I spent 2 hours tea dyeing paper because I'm running out of paper. And I'm just whipping these journals out. Okay, so I have that paper. I have the notebook paper. I have the ledger paper, and I have the tissue paper. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to split the number of copy paper that I have. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have, I'm going to switch a couple of these out. Some of this paper is lighter weight than some of this other paper, and I can tell just by feeling it. So I want a couple of the heavy pieces in with the lighter pieces on each stack. I did go buy a heavier weight copy paper, but I didn't keep it separate when I tea dyed it. So it's all sort of mixed in together. So what I do is I take a piece of copy paper and I open it up from pile 1. So I'm going to take a piece of ledger paper, and I messed up, so you're going to see me fix that in a minute. And decide if you want your ledger paper this way or that way. I put the holes at the top. Don't ask me why. It's just a thing for me. And I do another piece of copy paper, and then I do my tracing paper. And then this is my little thing that I like to do. Because tracing paper is hard to write on. It's very light and flimsy. I put lined paper on the inside of it. And that way, whoever is writing, when you're writing, you can follow the lines. I thought that was pretty nifty. So I like doing that. And then I put another piece of copy paper. And then I'm going to put this parchment paper. Or, no, this is not parchment. This is that watercolor paper that I bought on sale at my Joann's. Always check the sale bins in the store in Joann's. I go way to the back of our store, and they have a whole aisle. It sort of faces the classroom in our Joann's. I don't know about any other Joann's. And there's bins and bins and bins of stuff there. So I did that, and then I put the last sheet of copy paper inside. So I'm going, and these obviously need to be folded in. So I'm going to do the same thing with this pile. I'm going to take the graph paper. Put my holes at the top. And then copy paper. And then tracing paper with the lined paper inside of it. So I'm going to have to fold there. Yep. And then I'm going to put another piece of copy paper. And then I'm going to take this nice weight watercolor paper and my last piece of copy paper. Now, that gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So you have 32 pages to write on, to draw on, to paint on, to put photos on, whatever you want. Now, if you wanted to extend this, do it. If you want to make your signatures larger, do it. Now, I'm planning on putting some other papers in here, so there will be more pages. And if you wanted to make a third signature the same way, do it. This is your way of doing it. I'm just showing you what I'm doing and what I've learned. Now, the other thing I want to do is I want to take my doilies and decide where I want to put one. Now, I may use the small doily in making some ephemera. So I think I'm going to take this doily. Sometimes what I do is I just fold this edge under and I sew it in when I'm sewing the signatures. Let's see. And sometimes you can fold it in half. And I think that's what I'm going to do with this one. So I'm going to fold it in half and just put it in the fold of this page here. Actually, I think I'm going to put it in right here. Don't ask me why. I don't know. And then I will do the same thing in this one, but maybe in this one, I will just fold the edge in. And I'll catch it when I sew it in there. And what you could do is that could become a tuck spot if you glued around the bottom here. It could become a tuck spot this way. Or you could even glue a little right there and it could become a tuck. Or it can just be written on, because you can actually write on these. So there's that. And then I did make up some cards in ephemera. A lot of times I take the bigger 5x7 cards and I fold those as well. And I find a little place for them. So I might put that right in, I don't want it in the center, but I'm going to put it folded over the center sheet. And I'll do the same with this. And these cards I already stained and did a little, I think this is a bottle cap. I think I dipped the bottle cap in the ink and I stamped on it. And I think that's in one of my previous videos too. Not that I have that many videos. I should remember, but I don't. I'm pretty sure I showed it in one of my previous videos. So I'm going to put that right in there. I'm going to take the tracing paper. And sometimes I just make a bigger fold because there's no law that says you can't fold it in further than the edge of the paper. And this one I may just do it just a little bit. And sometimes I washi that down and it reinforces the edge and it makes it stronger. So there you go. Now I have some ephemera and stuff. I always decorate my pages first before sewing them, because if you want to take something out, say you want to take this out. This is one of my ephemera pages, or one of my ephemera, it's one of my bags. I'm getting carried away here. This is one of my tea-stained, stuck-together bags. So I decoupaged on it. I used napkin and stamps and all kinds of stuff. And if I wanted to put this on a page, say I wanted to put that right here, if I wanted to sew it around the edges here, like say I wanted to sew here and here, make a tuck spot here, or I wanted to sew it around 3 sides and make a pocket out of it, if I have already sewn these signatures together, I can't do that very easily. So if I decide I want to take one of these pages out and sew on it, I can't do that if I've already put the signatures together, if I've sewn them. So I don't do that yet. One of the other things I like to do is I'm going to take my paper pad here and, oh, these are 2 papers I want to use. This is from, okay, you're going to hear things crashing and banging. Oh, nope, I didn't spill anything. This is from this paper pad, and it's DCWV. I think that's how the initials go. And I tore the rest of the cover off. But you can get this in Joann's. They have this one and one that's a bunch of maps and stuff. But this is the paper pad I showed in my last video when I was showing how I gather my papers for this. And this thing is so cool because it has graph paper and written on paper and lined paper in a bunch of different colors. And I absolutely, I'm going to have to buy another one because if these things ever go away, I'm going to be very sad. But I love this paper pad. So I use one in almost every journal. So I'm going to take this, and I know the lines will be going the wrong way. I could put it in like this and cut the bottom off or fold the bottom up. but then I feel like I'm losing a lot of journaling space. So I put it in this way because it fits perfectly. And who says you can't turn your journal sideways and write on it like this? So I am going to fold this in half. And they fit perfectly in this size journal. I don't think I have to cut anything off. Okay. So I'm going to put this probably, let's see. I think I'll put it right here. So now I've just added another page. And sometimes I put tea-dyed paper. I'll glue tea-dyed paper on the back. I've been just leaving this, and I may distress it either in blue or in the tea-dye distress ink is my new favorite thing. It's not dark, and I really, really like it. And then this page has very faint writing on it. My iPad screen is so filthy, I can't even see what I'm showing you in it. So, yeah, there's that. And I'm trying the iPad out, so I sure hope this video works. Because I got tired of my phone ringing in the middle of me recording. So, oops. And I'm going to put that one right there. Alrighty. So see, our signatures are growing already. So I'm going to go into this pad, and there are so many gorgeous papers in this pad. The other thing I might, now this is not heavy cardstock. It's paper. It's a heavier paper, but it's not, definitely not cardstock. I wish it was cardstock because I like to use a heavier paper as sort of kind of a lead paper for the signatures. It's kind of what I've been doing on my last few journals, and I really like the way it comes out. I could use this one, this Delft. I really like it because it has artists on it. It has an artist right there. Oh, excuse me. Let's see. There's a couple in here that I really love. I love this one. Love that one. Okay, I can't hear you guys telling me which one you think I should use. So I guess I'm going to have to go with my gut. I don't know. Which one should I use? What do you think? I really like this one. I'm going to use this one for one of them. That's interesting. Almost feels textured. But I don't think it is. Well, I guess it is. Can you guys see the lines in this? If I show it really close. Can you see the texture? I didn't realize that before. And it's all like that. I think, gosh darn, I think that kind of is the same. Yeah, I didn't think it would take me this long to decide. I think I'm going to go with a flower one to make it a little different than the other one. So there we go. Oops. Let me get back up there. All right, set that aside. So what I do with these is decide your direction because it's 12 by 12. And so I want this to be, to me these seem to go up and down. So I'm going to fold it in half very carefully. Now, if this paper were any heavier, I would probably score it. I'm hoping this doesn't crack, because the heavier the paper, the more likely it is to crack, but this did not crack. Yeah, this worked. If it was cardstock, I would score it. for sure. And then, so that's going to overhang a little bit, but I'm okay with that. And then I will cut it to the right height, but I'll cut them both after I fold them both. So, more golfers. Goodness gracious, it must be nice out there. We've had snow here a couple weeks ago, and lots of rain and mud and frost. So there's been frost delays on the golf course. So these guys are trying to get their golfing in to make up for lost time, I think. There we go. So bring the paper cutter back up. Oops. That was a loud noise, wasn't it? And I will take the paper. I might have to cut these edges off. I don't know. There I go singing again. Good Lord, I gotta quit doing that. Scare you people away. That's pretty good. And then this one, folded edging. Okie dokie. Just a touch. Oh my. Okay. All right. Yeah, I think I'm going to cut the edges off these. I don't want them to overhang too much, but I'm going to leave just a tad extra because I want them to cover the signatures. So I want them to overhang just a tiny bit. Uh-oh. Darn. I missed. It only took one layer. So what I mean, I haven't gotten quite good at this cutter yet. So what I mean is, because your signatures start getting bulky, if you see the outside papers are a little shorter than the inside papers, I'm okay with that. I don't need everything perfect, but when I make my cover, well, see, I cut a little too short. I would have left a little more on there, but that's okay. I'm not going to beat myself up over it. See how this one fits. See, this one's just about, all I need to take off is maybe 1/8 of an inch. I'm just going to very carefully just take off just a little bit. Take off a little less on this one. Yeah. See, I like how this just covers all the edges there. Okay. So there's my signatures. Now, in the next video, because I'm sure this one's long enough, 43 minutes, almost 44, I will start putting together the ephemera, putting it inside the journal, using fabric and washi and stuff like that. But I'll save that for the next video. Thanks for joining me. If you like this and you want to share or you want to subscribe or any of that good stuff, give me a thumbs up. I'd like that. I would appreciate that a lot. You can do all of that down below. I appreciate it. Take care and have yourself a great day. Thanks for watching.